All right, what's up, everyone? Andrew Bone here, Bama Insider YouTube channel. Talk a little bit about recruiting. It's Friday, day before A-Day down in Tuscaloosa. Just kind of wanted to update everybody on what's going on this weekend down there. Big weekend for Alabama, as many of you know. You can get our complete list of top prospects who are visiting on BamaInsider.com. Just posted that list just not too long ago. It kind of just features the key guys that are in the 2020, even some 2021 guys that are going to be visiting. I imagine the list is probably, I'd say maybe around 60, 60 overall players that are going to be down there. But I kind of listed maybe around 20, 25 kids that Alabama fans can kind of focus in on, kind of watch over the course of the next year or two in terms of 2020, 2021 guys. But what I'm going to talk about today are just a few of the top tier kids who are going to be in town. The first one I want to mention is Julian Fleming, the 5-star wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver in the country out of Pennsylvania. Now, interesting story behind him is, even though a lot of people think that, and I wouldn't say think, I think a lot of people are pretty certain that Alabama's probably on the outside for him at this time. Now, he is going to be making this official visit this weekend, but interesting story is his high school quarterback the last 2 years, Stone Hollenbach, is a invited walk-on at Alabama. He's going to be at Alabama this fall. He's going to be returning to Tuscaloosa this weekend. So he's going to be around him, spending a lot of time with him, trying to recruit him, trying to say, hey, we can make this tandem happen again down in Tuscaloosa. This is where you need to come. But like I said, I think Alabama is still kind of a long shot. I think Penn State, where his girlfriend goes to school, Clemson, those are probably the top 2 schools for him right now. But anything can happen, especially you get on campus for an official visit. I think it's always a great, great experience for kids when they take their official visits, and then they kind of figure out, all right, this is what I like about the program, this is what I don't like, and then they kind of go from there. But Julian Fleming going to spend the next 3 days in Tuscaloosa. He's arriving in Tuscaloosa today, so he's going to be on campus, and it's going to be a big visit for him. Another big visitor this weekend, Reggie Grimes, out of Tennessee. A lot of people know that name. Reggie Grimes, his father. So Reggie Grimes Jr. Reggie Grimes, his father, played at Alabama, defensive lineman. His mom actually also ran track for the Crimson Tide. He's going to be on campus. He just recently released his top 6. Alabama was on that list, of course. A lot of people assume that Alabama's in the driver's seat for him. I don't know when he's going to make a decision. He hasn't really said when he's going to decide. Would it surprise anybody if he made a decision this weekend? Probably not. But just from seeing some interviews by him, I don't think he's going to decide until a little bit down the road. And someone just asked me, William, just asked if he'll be an outside linebacker or a defensive end. He's about 6'5", 225 pounds, 230 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to play just yet. Plays kind of all over the field. He plays running back for his high school team. He's just such a talented athlete. I think he's probably more an outside linebacker, an edge rusher. But we'll watch and see how much he continues to grow over the course of the next couple years, because he you never know, he could end up developing into a defensive end. Once he gets to college. But I definitely think he's a defensive player at the next level. Another question just popped in. Anything new on Bryce Young? And I'll get to some more questions here in a little bit. It's going to be kind of a quick, video today. I just kind of wanted to go over, what's going on this weekend down in Tuscaloosa. But I will answer Bryce Young. Nothing new. He's supposed to visit Alabama, of course, sometime in the next month or two. He's still committed to USC, but definitely has high interest in Alabama. One of the top quarterbacks in the country out of California. Looking back at some of the other top guys that are going to be on campus this weekend, we're going to see some guys that are currently committed to Alabama. A lot of out of state guys that aren't really able to get to Tuscaloosa as much as the in-state guys are. Of course, a lot of the in-state guys this weekend have prom, so they're all most of the in-state guys aren't even going to be on campus. But we are going to see Trayshawn Holden, receiver out of Baltimore, back on campus. Chris Braswell, the 5-star outside linebacker out of Baltimore, back on campus. Javon Baker, he's going to be back in Tuscaloosa. So I think that's that's good to get some of those big name guys from out of state back into Tuscaloosa. Caden Clark out of Ohio, the tight end, hasn't been back to Tuscaloosa in a while. He's going to be back on campus. So, just those guys developing the relationship with the coaching staff and even each other. I think it's always good to get all the commitments together so they get some familiarity with each other and start developing their relationship, their camaraderie for the future. Someone just asked, is Style Jones Bell visiting this weekend? No, the 4-star receiver is not. He was supposed to visit. Not supposed to. He visited about 3 weeks ago. Was down in Tuscaloosa about 3 weeks ago, up in Tuscaloosa 3 weeks ago. So he's not expected to visit this weekend. Probably not see him back in Tuscaloosa until the summer. Kind of a little bit of a drive or even a flight. Well, I don't know if he plans on flying back to Tuscaloosa on his next visit, but obviously a little bit of a ways for him from Miami to Tuscaloosa. So I would expect him back in Tuscaloosa sometime this summer. Another couple guys that I want to mention before we get out of here. Kyle Edwards, running back out of Destrehan High School in Louisiana. Starting to see his stock kind of explode a little bit. He played behind John Emery, LSU signee, this past year, and a lot of schools have offered him, including Alabama. Just recently said that the best relationship he has with any coach is Pete Golden, Alabama's DC, who is his area recruiter. He's going to be in town this weekend. There's a couple of big defensive linemen that are going to be on campus. Jacobian Gilroy out of Louisiana, Jamil Burrows out of Georgia. Burrows currently committed to the University of Georgia, but this is going to be his second visit to Alabama this year already. So definitely some interest there. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of commitments that are going to be in town, but there's also going to be some signees that are returning. Some guys that, obviously Alabama brought in a lot of guys early, a lot of early enrollees, but there were still several guys that did not enroll early, and we're going to see a lot of those guys on campus, back for the first time since their official visit. So, you're going to see Byron Young on campus, Trey Sanders, Christian Harris, Brandon Turnage, Marcus Banks coming all the way from Texas, King Wakuda from the outside linebacker from Georgia. All those guys are going to be back on campus, so I'm sure they're going to be excited to see the coaching staff and even see some of the guys in their freshman class that they built relationships with, throughout their recruitment. So, big weekend for Alabama overall. A lot going on this weekend in terms of other spring games. You got proms. You have kids on spring break. You have what else? Baseball. There's a lot of football players that are out there that also play. They play multiple sports, including baseball. So I talked to a few guys who said, "Hey, I can't make it this weekend because I have a baseball game." So so much going on. You look at the overall list. Pretty solid list considering all the kids that Alabama has had on campus throughout the entire spring. I mean, it seemed like every single day. And if you follow along on BamaInsider.com, most of you have, understood that there's been top kids on campus every single day throughout the entire spring. So Alabama's been very fortunate to bring, top kids on campus. And they're going to have some more guys on campus next week. Kendall Milton, the 5-star running back out of California, he's making an official visit to Alabama next Wednesday. So, a lot of people talk about all the kids that are visiting for 8A, but there are also some kids that are still going to be visiting next week as well. Darnell Washington just came out and said, the 5-star tight end out of Las Vegas, said he's going to visit Alabama during his spring break. I think that's next week. So not sure which day he's going to be making it on campus, but we'll be filling everybody in on that on BamaInsider.com. I'm going to go through a couple questions here, and then I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, I was just going to kind of get on here, tell you guys about some of the top kids that are going to be on campus this weekend. If you want the complete list, if you want all the scoop throughout the whole weekend, Any new offers, any kids who commit, anything that we're hearing throughout the whole 8A weekend, be sure to get on BamaInsider.com on the recruiting board, and we'll be updating everyone throughout the entire weekend, everything that's going on. So let me go through a couple quick questions here, and then we'll get out of here. Let's see here. Who do I think will get drafted the highest between the top 4 Alabama receivers? Well, in terms of guys that are going to be drafted next year, I definitely think it's going to be Judy. But I'll tell you what, I think Jalen Waddle is going to be drafted very high, the year after that. So he could end up being, pretty high in the NFL draft. Do I think Tyrell Shavers is going to get his big chance to start? I'm not sure about starting, but he's just such a rare talent. I mean, 6'6", 210 pounds, 215 pounds. He's got great speed. You would think that he could be a mismatch for a lot of defensive backs, and I think he's got a chance to to possibly make an impact. Alabama's got some great wide receivers, and they've got some young guys who are already stepping up as well, like John Mechie. We may see Xavier Williams start to make an impact as well this year. So Alabama's probably got. I mean, there's no doubt it's one of the most talented groups of receivers that they're going to have, and obviously they got a pretty good quarterback to get them the ball. All right. Just a lot of comments here. So, that's pretty much, let's see, thoughts on Paul Tyson. I mean, I like Paul a lot. I think Talia is good, probably a little bit ahead of him right now. But I think Paul's got a chance to develop into a good player. I mean, he's got the frame, 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when Tua ends up leaving. You're going to have Mac Jones, you're going to have Leah, you're going to have Paul Tyson. Who's going to be the next quarterback? Are they going to be able to sign somebody like Bryce Young this year, be able to flip him from USC, or possibly get another elite quarterback in this class? I mean, the competition is certainly going to be wide open once Tua leaves. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to do for today. Like I said, big weekend in Tuscaloosa, 8A. I know a lot of people are excited. Like I said, a lot of really good football players going to be on campus, a lot of good recruits. We went over the top kids that are visiting, went over some of the commitments who are returning, and we went over some of the top signees that are coming back to campus. All that stuff is on BamaInsider.com. I have the complete list of guys that are coming into town on the recruiting board. So go check that out. I encourage you to do so. And we'll let's see. I'll take in one more question here. Who steps up at tight end, and can Kedrick James be a star? Yeah, I mean, I love Kedrick James. I remember talking to a buddy of mine that does some of the commentary down in Tuscaloosa, and he was telling me, he came up to me last year and was like, "Who is Kedrick James? He is a freaking stud." And I was like, he definitely has the size, the frame, the athleticism to be something special. Can he put it all together? We'll just have to wait and see. But it looks like Miller Forstall is getting a lot of good reps this spring as well. So I always thought that he had a chance to be a really good player as well at Alabama, and he suffered that injury. Now he's coming back fully healthy, so I'd keep an eye on him. That's it, guys. Thank y'all for joining today. You'll be able to watch the recap once we end this stream. So thanks for joining, and we will see you next time.